Have you ever noticed that the more a man cares, the more she drifts away, the more he gives, the less she feels? And strangely enough, the moment he pulls back, that's when she leans in. That's when she starts chasing. It almost feels unfair, doesn't it? Like everything you were taught about love, about being loyal, attentive, vulnerable, doesn't actually work anymore. But what if I told you it's not because women have changed for the worse, it's because the world around them has changed, and with it, the rules of attraction have shifted. In today's world, women are flooded with attention, likes, comments, DMs, dating apps, every day. They're being told they're beautiful by men who barely know them. So what stands out to them now isn't the nice guy who's always there. It's the man who doesn't flinch, the one who doesn't beg for her time, the man who's steady, silent, and focused, not desperate for her validation. That man becomes the mystery. And mystery is the one thing that still has power in a world where everything else is on display. You see, women don't crave indifference because they want to suffer. They crave the energy of a man who values himself so deeply that he doesn't hand himself over just because she smiled at him. A man who doesn't make her the center of his universe, but instead makes her wonder why she's not. And that curiosity, that's the spark. That's the edge that turns interest into obsession. This isn't about being toxic. It's not about playing games. It's about understanding the new psychological landscape of dating and learning how to reclaim your masculine presence in a world that's trying to soften it. Because the truth is, the more you chase, the less she wants you. But the moment you stop chasing not out of anger, but out of power, everything changes. In this video, I'm going to give you 7 powerful mindset shifts. Real, grounded strategies that flip the script. So you no longer need to beg for attention, overexpress your feelings, or sacrifice your purpose to be chosen. You're going to learn how to become the man she can't ignore, the one she thinks about in silence, the one she talks about to her friends without even knowing why, the one who doesn't care too much and because of that, becomes unforgettable. Let's begin. Tactic 1. Stop showing all your feelings. The first shift is simple but deadly effective. Stop showing all your feelings. Now don't get it twisted, this isn't about becoming cold or emotionless. It's about learning the power of emotional restraint. Because here's the truth, most men never realize. The moment you put all your emotions on the table too early, you kill the mystery, you destroy the intrigue, and with that, desire fades. At first, you might think that being open, vulnerable, and transparent is how you build closeness, that expressing every thought and feeling you have will make her feel safe and emotionally connected. But in reality, when a woman sees that she has full access to your heart, your mind, and your attention, the tension disappears. The chase ends. She no longer wonders how you feel because you've already made it crystal clear. And that certainty, while it may feel romantic to you, becomes boring to her. Women are not drawn to overexposed emotions. They're drawn to control, to self-mastery. They're drawn to the man who can feel deeply, but doesn't need to say everything he feels. A man who doesn't need to rush to explain himself. A man who can sit with emotion, breathe through it, and keep moving. That kind of restraint signals strength, and strength, to a woman, is irresistible. You don't need to text her every time you miss her. You don't need to explain your emotions when she goes cold. You don't need to write paragraphs when she sends one-word replies, because when you do, hayam ham, what you're really saying is, you have full power over how I feel, and that, whether she admits it or not, turns her off. When a woman senses that she owns your emotional world, she no longer feels the need to pursue you. Why would she? There's no tension left, no pull, no spark. But the moment you hold something back, not out of spite, but out of composure, her mind starts racing. She wonders, why isn't he reacting? Why does he seem unaffected? That wonder becomes curiosity. And curiosity is the foundation of attraction. Modern dating is flooded with emotionally needy men. Guys who overshare. Guys who write essays after every conversation. Guys who cry too soon, reveal too much, and hope that openness will make them stand out. But it doesn't. What makes a man stand out is emotional discipline, the ability to feel everything and still say very little. The man who's calm, reserved, Unbothered, that's the man who becomes unforgettable. Let me paint a picture. Imagine two men texting the same woman. The first one says good morning every day. He tells her how much he misses her. He pours his heart into every message. The second guy, he doesn't always reply right away. He keeps the conversation light. He never reveals too much. Which one do you think she's obsessing over? Not the one who floods her with feelings. It's the one who makes her wonder, the one who makes her feel uncertain. Because that tension, that gap, creates emotional gravity. You don't need to fake being distant. You just need to value your inner world enough to protect it. Stop giving away your vulnerability like it's a free trial. Make her earn it. And when she does, on your terms, she'll treasure it more. That's the power of restraint. That's the difference between being just another guy and becoming the man who lingers in her thoughts long after the conversation ends. Tactic 2, choose purpose over her choose. Here's the second truth that most men ignore until it's too late. When you put a woman above your mission, she will, eventually, put you beneath her respect. That's not opinion. That's observable reality. You see, the moment your life begins to revolve around her texts, her moods, her validation, that's the moment something inside her shifts. She may not say it outright. She might not even understand it consciously, but deep down, she starts to feel it. And that feeling says, this man is no longer driven by purpose. He's driven by me. And that's where the attraction begins to fade. A woman wants to feel chosen, yes, but she wants to be chosen by a man who's already chosen something greater than her. A mission, a path, a fire that burns deeper than temporary affection. She doesn't want to become your identity. She wants to admire the strength of your identity and feel privileged to be a part of it. That's the difference. You weren't born to orbit her world. You were born to build your own. And when she senses that you've abandoned your journey just to follow her footsteps, she loses the very thing that made her respect you in the first place. Your focus, your direction, your self-control. The truth is, women don't fall for men who are emotionally dependent. They don't admire men who drop everything the moment she calls. At first, it might feel romantic. He's always available, always willing, always sacrificing, but soon, she starts to feel like he's lost himself. And when a man loses himself, she follows right behind and loses interest. Now imagine this. There's a guy who cancels his gym session just to meet her for coffee. He skips work. He ignores deadlines. All because she sent a late-night text. And maybe, in the beginning, she appreciates it. But over time, that constant availability becomes predictable. And predictability breeds boredom. She stops seeing him as a challenge. She starts seeing him as a man without a backbone. And no woman truly respects a man she can interrupt at any time. Why? Because she instinctively knows, if the world can pull him off course, he's not built to lead. But let's flip the energy. Picture a man who's deeply locked into his purpose. He wakes up early, he trains, he builds, he creates. And when she texts, he doesn't drop everything. He replies when he can, he sees her when it aligns. Not because he doesn't care, but because he's committed to something bigger. He respects his own time. His mission comes first. And strangely enough, that's the man she starts to chase. Not the one who's always ready, but the one who's going somewhere with or without her. You see, when your schedule doesn't bend for her, she starts to lean in, not because you're playing games, but because you've reminded her of what true masculine energy feels like. Unshakable, unapologetic, driven. You want her to value your presence, then make it clear that it's a privilege, not a guarantee. You want her to feel inspired by your life, then stop putting her at the center of it. You want her desire, then stop giving her all your time. Give your time to your grind, to your growth, to your goals. And when she sees that your fire burns with or without her, she'll feel something she hasn't felt in a while, respect. And with respect comes attraction. Purpose isn't just about what you do. It's about who you are when you're not seeking approval. When you don't need her to believe in you because you already believe in yourself. That's the kind of man who doesn't chase. He magnetizes. And in today's world, that man is rare. Tactic 3. Never react to her games. One of the easiest ways to lose your power is by reacting emotionally when a woman starts playing games. And yes, many women do test men. Not always on purpose, not always consciously, but it happens, She pulls back, she delays her replies, she flirts with someone else, she acts distant or cold. And instantly, most men panic. They chase, they ask, what's wrong? They try harder, they try to fix the vibe, to bring things back, and just like that, they give away the one thing that held her attention in the first place: emotional control. What you need to understand is this: when a woman starts testing you, it's not always because she wants to hurt you, it's because she wants to feel your strength. She wants to see if you break under pressure, if you beg for clarity, if your mood shifts based on hers. She wants to feel whether your center is solid or if it collapses the moment she takes a step back. And if you start reacting, explaining, proving, apologizing for things you didn't even do, she knows. She knows you're ruled by her emotional energy. And from that moment, she starts losing respect. The man who holds power is the man who doesn't react. He doesn't get emotional when she pulls away. He doesn't chase when she delays. He doesn't flinch when her attention shifts. Not because he doesn't care, but because he understands that games don't deserve energy. He responds only to effort. He moves when there's mutual respect, and if that's not there, he simply keeps living. Let's make this real. She leaves you on read for hours, then randomly replies with a short message. Most men would instantly jump in. They'd reply quickly, trying to seem chill, trying to win her back. But the man who's grounded, he doesn't rush. Maybe he replies later, maybe not at all. Not to punish her, not to be rude, but because he doesn't live in reaction mode. His emotions aren't for sale. His peace isn't up for negotiation. When you stay calm while she's chaotic, when you hold frame instead of chasing validation, something strange happens. She starts to wonder, why isn't he reacting? Is he losing interest? Does he even care that uncertainty builds tension, and tension creates desire? Because here's the truth. Most men ignore women don't want to control your emotions. They want to feel the power of a man who's already mastered them. This doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. It doesn't mean you accept poor behavior. It means you handle it with silence and standard, not with pleading. You don't fight for attention. You don't chase clarity. You simply remove your presence when the energy feels off. And in that silence, she hears everything. She hears confidence. She hears self-respect. She hears that you're not here to earn what you already bring to the table. Think of it like this. When she pushes, you don't push back. You hold. When she pulls away, you don't run after her. You stand still, not frozen but rooted, calm, mature, unmoved. That energy is rare, and because it's rare, it becomes unforgettable. She starts to realize that the little tricks and emotional swings that worked on every other guy don't move you, and that mystery, that composure, that grounded presence makes you dangerous in the best way possible. Because if you can't be shaken, if you can't be lured into emotional chaos, if you won't dance for attention, then you're not just another man, you're a force. And deep down, every woman respects the man who doesn't flinch. Tactic 4. Don't always make plans. Here's a subtle truth that most men overlook when you're always the one making the plans, always initiating, always setting the time, place, and day. You might think you're showing leadership, but what you're actually showing is availability. And in the eyes of a woman who craves mystery, availability without tension becomes predictability, and predictability kills desire. Now don't get it wrong. Masculine men do lead. You should be decisive. You should be intentional. But when you're constantly the one orchestrating every move, you remove her part in the dynamic. You leave her with nothing to invest. No anticipation, no wondering, no energy required. And that lack of emotional friction slowly turns interest into indifference. You see, attraction thrives on duality, a dance between pursuit and pullback, between clarity and space. When you're the one always setting things up, texting first, asking when she's free, picking the restaurant, confirming the day, you create a rhythm that's all too easy to read. And once she can read you, she stops thinking about you, because there's no edge, no tension, no mystery left to unfold. Now here's the mistake most men make. They believe that if they don't set the next date, she'll lose interest. But the truth is, if she's truly interested, she'll step up. She'll ask. She'll follow up. She'll find ways to connect, and if she doesn't, that silence is your answer. You are the only one driving the connection, and that's not attraction. That's a performance. Imagine this. You go on a date, it goes well. There's chemistry, laughter, eye contact. The very next morning, you text her with 3 options for the next hangout. You suggest dates, times, restaurants. Your energy is full speed, and yes, she might respond. She might even agree. But something inside her shifts, because now she doesn't get a moment to miss you. She doesn't get to wonder what's next. You've already laid it all out. You've removed the suspense. You've robbed her of the chance to chase. Now flip the script. The date goes well, but then you go silent, not cold, not rude, just calm, present in your own world. You don't follow up right away. You don't push for plans. You let it breathe. And in that space, something powerful happens. If she's into you, she'll feel that gap. She'll start to wonder. She might text first, or if you reach out later, her energy will be warm, receptive, eager. Why? Because you allowed her to feel tension. You gave her space to invest. An investment is what turns interest into emotional attachment. This tactic isn't about playing games. It's about balance. You don't always initiate. You don't always plan. You leave room. You create space for her to show her level of desire. Because if she's just along for the ride, only reacting to your effort, then she's not truly choosing you. She's just following momentum. And women don't fall for momentum. They fall for mystery. You want to be seen as a high-value man, then stop rewarding minimal effort with maximum pursuit. Show her that your time is valuable, that your life is full, that you don't rearrange your world for someone who hasn't earned that privilege. When you stop always making the plans, you send a clear message: my life is moving with or without you, and that message pulls her in like gravity. Tactic 5. Be willing to walk away. There's a certain power that can't be faked, a quiet intensity that a woman feels not through your words, but through your energy. And that power comes from one thing: a man who is genuinely willing to walk away. Not out of anger, not as a threat, but from a place of deep self-respect. Most men don't have this. They're afraid to lose her, afraid to be alone, afraid that letting go means they'll never find something better. So they tolerate things they shouldn't. They hold on when it's already gone. They stay silent when disrespected. They overcompensate when she pulls back. And without even realizing it, they teach her exactly how to treat them with less. You see, when a woman senses that a man will stick around no matter what, when she knows that he'll accept breadcrumbs, chase through rejection, explain himself endlessly, and beg for her attention, something inside her shifts. She stops respecting him. She might still talk to him. She might still smile, but deep down, she knows he won't leave. And when a man has no exit, he has no leverage. He becomes emotionally trapped like a prisoner of his own fear, and nothing kills desire faster than the scent of desperation. But the man who can walk away, he's different. He's calm, centered, untouched by chaos. When she withdraws, he doesn't chase. When she disrespects, he doesn't argue. When she starts acting cold or playing games, he doesn't beg. He simply removes his presence, silently, fully, without announcement. That silence isn't weakness. It's confidence. It says, I know what I bring. I don't have to prove it. If you don't see it, I won't convince you. I'll disappear. Picture this. She starts pulling away. Texts get shorter. Calls stop coming. Her energy shifts. The average man would double down. He'd plan something romantic, ask what's wrong, try harder to be noticed. But the man who understands value, he does the opposite. He watches, he observes, and when the pattern becomes clear, he exits, quietly, with dignity, because he knows. Staying where you're not valued doesn't make you strong, it makes you forgettable. This doesn't just apply to dating, it applies to long-term relationships too, even in love. The willingness to walk away is not about ego, it's about standards. It's about knowing that your peace, your self-worth, your purpose will never be negotiated just to maintain someone else's comfort. You don't threaten, you don't shout, you just move. And in that movement, something powerful happens. She feels it. that shift in your energy, that absence of need, that calm detachment, it disrupts her. Because now, the roles are reversed. She's the one wondering. She's the one reaching. She's the one asking, did I push him too far? And here's the twist: when you truly don't fear losing her, that's when she fears losing you. Because now, she's dealing with a man who has options, a man who has direction, a man who isn't emotionally trapped in the outcome. And that kind of man is rare. Being willing to walk away doesn't mean you walk out over every disagreement. It means you've drawn a line, a silent line made of self-worth. If she crosses it, you don't explain, you don't justify, you just act, and your action says everything. Because in the end, the man who walks away from the wrong energy is the man who walks straight into the right one, with power, with peace, and with purpose intact. Tactic 6. Never be too available. One of the most overlooked mistakes men make today is being too available, always replying instantly, always picking up the phone, always ready to meet, to change plans, to make space at any time, at any cost. And while that may sound like commitment or devotion, in her subconscious mind, it registers as one thing: desperation. And here's the brutal truth: women don't chase what they fully control. They don't crave what they already possess. And nothing kills desire faster than a man who's constantly waiting. You might think that being there for her every time she calls, every time she texts, every time she feels bored, will make her feel special. But instead, it sends a different message. It tells her that you have no direction, no mission, no life that moves without her. It says your time is unlimited, your attention is cheap, and your value depends on her schedule. And even if she doesn't say it, she feels it. She feels the lack of edge, the absence of mystery, the slow decay of challenge, and she starts to drift. Think about it. She texts, "What are you doing?" and you immediately reply, "Nothing, just chilling." You think you're being honest. But what you're actually communicating is, "I have no purpose right now, I'm just here, waiting for you." She suggests hanging out and you say yes before she even finishes the sentence. She calls at midnight and you pick up, no hesitation. She cancels plans and you reschedule immediately. What you think is devotion, she reads as imbalance. Now flip that energy. Imagine a man who's selectively available. Sometimes he replies fast. Other times, he takes hours, not out of spite, but because he's busy, he's building, he's focused. His time isn't open for everyone, and that includes her. And when he does respond, he's calm, controlled. He gives her his presence, but never in excess. He offers his attention, but never without value. That man is magnetic, not because he plays hard to get, but because he truly lives like his time matters. You have to understand this: if she can get all of you without giving anything, she won't value you. Because in her emotional world, what costs nothing means nothing. The same way you don't treasure what you didn't earn, she doesn't respect the man she never had to work for. When you're always available, you're like a book she's already finished reading. There's no tension left, no pages to turn, no surprise around the corner, so don't be the man who's always ready. Be the man who moves with purpose, who's grounded in discipline, who has a schedule to honor and standards to protect. And when you do make time for her, it'll feel rare, valuable, special, not because you said so, but because she knows you had to carve that time out of something greater. And that's what makes her chase, not your availability, but your scarcity. The man who's never too available isn't playing games, he's living life, and that life is what makes him irresistible. Tactic 7. Detach from outcomes. If you want real power in the dating game, stop trying to control the outcome. Stop obsessing over whether she likes you, whether she'll text you back, whether things are going somewhere. Because the moment you become attached to a specific result is the moment you lose leverage, the moment you lose yourself. Most men go into interactions already anxious about the ending. They're rehearsing what to say, overthinking every reply, hoping for approval, waiting for validation. And that energy is felt. It leaks through your words, through your body language, through your silence, and women sense it instantly. Here's what most guys don't understand. Women don't fall for men who need them. They fall for men who are centered with or without them. When you're attached to the outcome, you perform, you try to impress, you chase, you mold yourself into what you think she wants. But when you detach, you lead, you express, you stay grounded, you let the interaction unfold without force, without pressure, without fear. That doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care more about who you are than how she responds. It means your confidence isn't based on what she says or does. It's based on the man you've built within. And that, right there, is what creates gravity. The calm presence of a man who doesn't flinch, who doesn't beg, who doesn't need to win because he's already whole. Let's make this real. You text her. She doesn't reply. The average man starts spiraling. He sends another message, checks if she saw it, worries about what he did wrong. But the man who's detached, he moves on with his day. He doesn't take it personally. He doesn't assign meaning to her silence because he knows her behavior doesn't define his worth. And ironically, it's that lack of reaction that makes her wonder, that makes her think about him more, not less. Because he didn't collapse, he didn't chase, he didn't flinch. When a man can walk away from the outcome, he becomes unpredictable, and unpredictability creates tension, and tension creates attraction. She can't read him, can't manipulate him, can't control the emotional narrative. And that drives her curiosity, makes her think about him at night, makes her wonder why he's not following the same pattern every other guy follows. Detachment is not apathy, it's mastery. It means you've reached a place where you no longer operate from fear. You no longer need her to feel good about yourself. You're not here to be chosen. You're here to choose. And if the energy doesn't align, you walk away with peace in your chest and zero regret in your soul. You want her to chase you. Detach. You want her to value you. Detach. You want to feel powerful, regardless of her actions. Detach. Not by faking it, but by living from a place of abundance, a place where you know that your presence is the prize. And if she doesn't see it, that's her loss, not yours. Because the man who's detached from the outcome is the man every woman remembers. Not because he tried to impress her, but because he made her feel something no one else did. Uncertainty, desire, respect, all wrapped in the silence of a man who doesn't chase, but chooses, calmly, clearly, completely. So let's bring it all together. 7 tactics, 1 mindset. Stop showing all your feelings because a man who reveals everything loses the power of mystery. Choose purpose over her because no woman can truly respect a man who abandons his mission. Never react to her games because emotional control is what separates the masculine from the needy. Don't always make plans because if you're doing all the work, she's not emotionally invested. Be willing to walk away because the man who can leave without fear commands the most respect. Never be too available because scarcity creates value and your time is your currency. And finally, detach from outcomes because the moment you let go of needing her, you become the man she can't ignore. These aren't games. This isn't manipulation. This is alignment with something deeper. The truth is, women are not attracted to indifference. They're attracted to strength. They're drawn to a man who doesn't bend for attention, a man who lives by principles, who knows his worth, protects his peace, and values his mission more than a moment of validation. That kind of man is rare. And because he's rare, he becomes unforgettable. You don't need to beg to be chosen. You don't need to chase to be loved. You simply need to stand. Stand in your presence. Stand in your truth. Stand in your power. And when you do, she will feel it, not through your words, but through your energy, through your silence, through the weight of your discipline. Because in the end, the man who doesn't care too much doesn't lose. He leads, he attracts, he becomes the one she can't stop thinking about, even long after he's gone. Let other men overgive, overtalk, overchase. You stay grounded, stay focused, stay rare. That's how you win not just in dating, but in life.